Quebec also sweltering under this heat dome, and air conditioning. We've talked about how, get to an air-conditioned place. That is not an option for hundreds of people on Montreal's West Island for much of the day today. Marianne here is with the story of a planned power outage courtesy of Hydro-Québec, and this is one that could have a really worrisome effect on some seniors.
Yes, it is a hot day, and that's why there were many calls for Hydro-Québec to potentially delay these planned outages because it's just so hot right now. Because with an outage, of course, it means no power. No power means no air conditioning or even your fan. And despite those calls, those outages did continue as planned. They were set to begin at 7 a.m. Eastern, and they did. So 1 hour into this outage, we know that many of the residents of a senior home at the Wellesley Seniors Home in Pointe Claire, they have already been moved to other Chartwell homes outside of this outage area, or even to local malls or businesses where there is air conditioning for them to cool off. More than 1,600 customers are impacted by this outage. It is expected to last for several hours, and so there's a big concern for those not only who are mobile, able to get out, but those who aren't able to leave their rooms. Staff at the home, the Wellesley, saying that they will make sure that those people are well hydrated and keeping cool despite the fact that the power is still off. Now, we did speak with someone who had contacted Hydro-Québec, hoping that they could delay this outage. They're concerned not only about the seniors at that seniors' home, but also the seniors within their own building.
Some of them are concerned because some of them can't walk without walkers, and one of them lives on the 5th floor, and there's no elevators. And then there's another neighbor who is bedridden, and if anything happened, if she had any emergency, that would be certainly very difficult. It's just overall a big concern.
Now, Hydro-Québec says that it just could not delay this work. They say it's extensive. They're trying to replace an area transformer, and that's why it couldn't be delayed.
The work requires synchronized work on a long stretch of line. And if we don't do that operation, it can mean that people will be subject to longer outages, and we really want to avoid that. That being said, we made sure we did everything we could to make that interruption better.
So the good news is it is not an entire day. It did begin about an hour ago, as I mentioned. It's going on until 1 p.m. Eastern. So into the afternoon, people are going to have to get creative in ways to get cool in this extreme heat.
The easy thing to do is, if you have, turn on the air conditioner, turn it way up. So consumption becomes an issue as far as power outages. What's the concern there in Quebec?
Yeah, that stress on the power grid, always a concern as people crank up that air conditioner, blast that fan throughout the day into the overnight hours, depending on how hot it is in your neighborhood. But the message right now, try to conserve that energy during peak hours. We know that hydro officials in different provinces across the country saying they're keeping an eye on the power grid just in case. But you should also be prepared for the worst case scenario. And that, of course, would be power failures or even a lengthy power outage. How you could be prepared, maybe just hanging out in the sun, but also making sure you have a flashlight with working batteries, non-perishable food, bottled water, even your medication for the next 3 days, because you just never know how long these outages can last. We saw that happen in 2003, and it lasted for several days in that case.
Okay, Marianne, thank you very much.